Okay, so the first thing is if you are constructing a prism. Okay, so let's start with prisms. Okay, so as far as a prism goes, what I would do is I would take this, since the bases of a prism are polygons, I'd take your polygon tool and I'd choose the one that's outline and fill. Again, you don't necessarily need to do it, but I would encourage you to. And then simply create your polygon. So let's say we wanted to create a pentagon. Okay, so I pick my 5 points and form my pentagon. Once you have your base shape created, go ahead and copy everything. So I just select the whole thing. You can use the same commands that you would on a normal document. Control-C copies, Control-V pastes, and then what you want to do is you want to line up that new image directly below the original. And then the last step is if you go to the segment tool, you can just connect each of the corresponding vertices, and that will form your solid. Okay, so it gives you the nice prism, very consistent. And again, you can see here's our right prism. If we slid this out, now it becomes oblique. And so again, the majority of what we'll be doing will be right solids, so that would be more representative of it. Okay, if we were doing a pyramid, okay, the pyramid would begin with the same step that we did for creating our polygon base, except now instead of copying and pasting, all we would need to do here is connect each of those vertices to one common vertex, and that would create your pyramid. So now I have this pyramid sitting on top of the prism. All right. Now, if you want to give it the perspective of being in the front and in the back, if you select those elements that are represented in the back of the figure, and if you select all of those, you can go to display and you can change the line style. Dotted is a little bit, dotted is just like dashed. It projects it a little bit smaller. Okay. Cylinders is the following. Okay. Instead of selecting circle, just select the point tool. And I want you to choose 4 points that kind of form a diamond shape. So there are 4 points kind of in the shape of a diamond. Okay, what you can do now with this is you can select the top 3 or bottom 3. But if you just select those 3 in consecutive order and hit construct, you can choose arc through 3 points. And you can do the same thing with the bottom 3. Just select the bottom 3, go to construct and select arc through 3 points. And what this allows to happen is it allows you to have that perspective of the oval. So kind of the not looking at a circle directly from the top, but from the side. Okay? And then once you have this measure, now if we wanted to fill this in as well, we could highlight just the arcs. And if we go to construct arc interiors, those are called segments. If you wanted just the kind of the fill of the portion contained within the arc, okay, you could go to construct and choose interior fill. Okay, I do want to change these to the same color, so let's change this bottom one to the aqua color. So here's my base for my cylinder. Again, a cylinder, like a prism, has 2 parallel and congruent bases, so I'm going to highlight this element or this figure, hit Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste, and I'm just going to line it directly above or directly below the original. And now when I connect just my consecutive or the corresponding sides, it now gives me the cylinder that looks a little more like the perspective that we would be used to seeing. And if you want, you can hide any of the reference points you want to using Control-H. Okay, but that gives us our cylinder. You can do the same thing with the cone that we did with the pyramid. Okay, if you take your points, create your arc, fill the arcs to give it that perspective of the circular base, and then just connect each of those outside points to one common vertex, and you get your cone on top of the cylinder. And once again, if you wanted the perspective of the back part being behind, you can change it. You can change it to a dotted line. And so now it kind of looks like those back portions are behind the figure. It's completely up to you if you want to do that or not. All right, the final example is a sphere. Okay, so to represent a sphere, we are going to begin with a circle. Again, I'm going to turn this into a solid line just by right-clicking and choosing that. Okay, so for a sphere, you do have that circle as your outer shell, but then you also have these kind of arcs here to represent the dimensions, the 3 dimensions of it. So if we put 4 points along this in the shape of a diamond, so again, I have the one to start with, and I pick 3 more to give me my 4 points for the perspective. Select either the top 3 or the bottom 3, construct an arc through those 3 points, do the same thing with the bottom 3. And if I want, again, I can change it to a dashed line or dotted line to represent the perspective of it. I can hide any points that I don't want to be seen. Okay, and in this case, again, I could even include a radius. And that radius could be anywhere. Again, anywhere along this point or this arc, anywhere in the back as well.